This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Forge fans, welcome back. Today is June 5th, 2023. We're going on week 5 now of Forge Daily, so it's flying by. We've got a few things to discuss today, including this past weekend's game against Cavalry, and then we'll talk about what went down this morning at practice. We're also going to hear from Dom Samuel and Forge FC trainer Jacob Miller, and then some insight from Captain Kyle Bekker at the post-match press conference from Saturday. So let's get right into it with a little Forge FC Cavalry recap. This time, Forge coming out on the right side of a stoppage time goal after going into the 90th minute down 1-0 to Cavalry. It was Jordan Hamilton who equalized the match off a beautiful cross from Captain Kyle Bekker. That would be Hamilton's 3rd goal of the season, making him the club's top scorer thus far in 2023. Bekker also remaining the club's top assist leader on the season with 3 now, and a total of 17 assists all-time with Forge FC. So either side, Cavalry and Forge coming out with a point after Saturday's draw. This is Cavalry's 6th draw of the season. If you got a chance to listen to my interview with Charlie O'Connor-Clark last week, he pointed out that Cavalry's got this inability to maintain a lead. It's been a pattern this entire season. They consistently managed to get ahead and then somehow concede later in the game. Mind you, Forge did have possession most of the time, but still, deja vu for Cavalry, especially looking at that home opener we had here at Tim Hortons Field, a very similar outcome. Before we look into this morning's practice, let's hear from Kyle Bekker on how resilience was especially important at Saturday's game and during times like this in the regular season.
Yeah, it's funny because we've actually been talking about that a lot as a group. Obviously, we've played, I think it's our 5th game in 16 days. It's been pretty demanding. We've been playing in 2 competitions. We've played some great games. We've had some tough games, but in this league, you have to be resilient. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty, but you have to find a way. And picking up points, especially on the road in a tough place to play like this, is massive at the end of the season. So we know we just have to keep going. The goals aren't coming in bunches for us right now, but we just have to be persistent. And that's the message we've had as a group. And it's great to get a goal like that late in a game when we feel like we've been pushing. We had the bulk of possession. It's a little sloppy at times. We'll be the first to say that, but you have to find a way. Good teams find a way.
You guys tired?
Yeah, we're tired, but it's great to play games. You want to be in this, especially for the young guys in our team. Been getting a lot of minutes. This is why you play. This is the beauty of this league. You get an opportunity to showcase yourself against big players. As I said, we've played in 2 competitions. We have guys who've come in and played big minutes against teams like Montreal, and that's fantastic to see as young Canadians getting that opportunity. So, yeah, it's been a heavy month, but it's what you want.
Not everyone at training this morning. The non-starting 11 were up and at it for a shorter session to start the week. Forge FC has now played a total of 5 games in 16 days, not having more than 4 days rest between each match. Luckily, they have a 7-day break now till their next game on June 10th against Pacific. So coaches, players, and trainers being very specific about how to take advantage of this rest. I got the chance to get the trainer's perspective from Jacob Miller. Here's what he had to say about the importance of the team's recovery and how they sort of stay motivated during periods when fatigue starts to kick in.
I think one of the biggest things that we can control is how fit we are going into periods like that. So I think we had a really successful offseason. The guys came in really strong, really fit, and that just makes all of this a lot more tolerable. But fortunately, we've also been able to get a lot of rotation as coaches put through the squad where it's not the same 11 guys playing day in and day out. So I think honestly, those have been our 2 biggest factors. Well, I know this is something Coach talks a lot about where a lot of the motivation actually comes from within the locker room where it's the players pulling each other into the gym to do a little bit of extra work to keep fit, keep strong, and it makes my life really easy.
I spoke to Dom on the same topic, and he had a very similar response in that motivation comes from within the locker room, and it's something that exists within the club as a whole, not necessarily that something players have to find within themselves individually.
Yeah, you just have to, do what you can at training, put the work in, keep the intensity high, and then, once you actually get that, downtime after training, just take the time to basically reset your body, get the recovery in, stretch, eat properly, because nutrition is massive. I think motivation at this club is just like, it's a thing. Like you don't necessarily need to be motivated because you already want to be here. You want to play, you want to win. And that's just the mentality that we have throughout the team, throughout the locker room, and at this club.
As a whole.
As a whole, basically, yeah.
A little CPL update for you before we finish up. Your Forge FC is still sitting at the top of the table with a total of 16 points. They hold a record of 5 wins, 2 losses, and 4 draws in all competitions in 2023. Pacific FC are not far behind. They've accumulated 15 points now and sitting second in the league. So this Saturday has the potential to change a lot in the standings. Still, though, what I think separates Forge from other teams in the CPL is their ability to get something out of games where they aren't necessarily at their best. They've gained 6 points from losing positions this season. No other CPL team has more than 2. They've scored 5 equalizing goals, now 3 of them ironically against Cavalry. I spoke to Dom about the team's overall form at this point in the season, and he, alongside many of his teammates, suggested that they have not even come close to reaching their full potential.
In terms of form, I don't think we've hit like halfway yet. I think we have many more gears to go. I think we're just kind of getting into things, and again, we've been doing well. We only have 1 loss, unfortunately. I think we're pretty good.
The chances have been coming, but Forge FC not nearly as clinical as they'd like to be. That's now 62 shots in their last 4 games, but just 3 goals. This Saturday, they've got an opportunity to change those stats, and we'll get into that a little later in the week. That is all I have for today's episode of Forge Daily. Thank you so much again for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.